Good afternoon, friends. Martin Hargreave here at Talk Badminton this afternoon. It's Sunday afternoon. It's 4:15, and I'm a little late for Scott Oates. I'm going to bring you over in a little second. I just want to briefly give you an introduction into a couple of affiliates I've got. YC Sports is a Yonex dealer specializing in personalization. If you have any requirements in that area, let me know. And I've got a 5% discount voucher with them for any Yonex equipment. Wilson, Scott's a specialist in that area as well. So if you have any requirements, just drop me a message. I'll be glad to help. But also newly, I've got a 10% and 20% voucher off Oliver Sports, who's a up and coming German brand for squash and badminton. With some interesting technologies which I'll come to in the future very soon. But right now, so there's a rough idea of the websites and a note of the vouchers for you. I'll put a link down in the comments for the referral effectively, which will give you discounts, and both quick providers of sports equipment. YC is particularly good at personalization, so yeah, that's all good. So let's get on with the interview, and here we are with Scott Oates. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Thank you for coming on a Sunday. I know this isn't work today. This isn't work.
No, that's no problem.
I know. Do you know when I interviewed you the other day? Where has it gone? Where's it gone now? 1 second. I had something. Sorry, 1 second. I was looking at something. Oh, I've lost it. Where's it gone? I had something all set up. There, it's there. Do you know your name was so familiar to me, right? And I thought, I know Scott Oates. And I couldn't work out where it's come from. Do you know where it is?
I hope it's a good thing. Oh, oh. It's like if I'd have had £1 for every time I've had that one.
You are famous, I'm thinking, but it was just so familiar. It's really terrible, I know. 1 second, I've lost you. Where have you gone? Sorry, 1 second. Where's your face gone? I've lost you here. 1 second, I've had a technical glitch come on here. This is annoying. Where have you gone? There you are. Sorry about this. Isn't bad. There you are, Scott Oates. Terrible. For some reason, that's gone. You hear that a lot, do you? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't. No, I literally had no idea. 1 second, sorry. Here we go. Sorry about that. Technical glitches there. Very poor show from me. Here we are. Sorry about that. So great, Scott. Thank you for your time on a Sunday afternoon. You've heard that quite a lot, have you?
Yeah, I think I'd be a millionaire if I had £1 for every time.
But do you know, it just didn't click with me at all. It was like days later. I'm thinking, someone's so familiar about that name. What is it? Scott Oates. Nothing. Do you know? I even think I googled it. I think I actually googled it and I thought Scott Oates. It must be famous. Then that image came up. Okay, let's go on with the badminton questions. So, your full name is Scott. Is it Scott Oates, or do you have a middle names or anything like that?
Yeah, my middle name is Aaron, so Scott Aaron Oates.
Cool. What does the Aaron come from?
I have no idea.
That's a good Scottish name.
Yeah, my dad's always liked Scotland, so I think a lot of where Scott and Aaron have come from is from Scotland. So
yeah, cool. Did he spend time in Scotland, like?
Yeah, I think he used to go up there quite a lot, for golf as well.
Yeah. Sorry, you said he was a pro golf. Was he?
It was semi-pro, I think. Before he had kids.
Yeah.
So we were the hindrance on his
on his career. Yeah, good. And so what age are you, Scott? Sorry, I'll go back to that.
I'm 23.
23, cool. And your home area, where were you born, and where did you grow up? Yeah, where did you first play badminton, I suppose?
I was born in Wrexham in North Wales, and I've grown up since I was born in Hardin in North Wales, literally on the border of Chester. And our first badminton club was D-side, which is a couple of minutes down the road.
Really that close. And so, were you on the Welsh side then?
Yeah. We've had like a Cheshire postcode, but we've always lived in Wales.
Really? Wow. And does that mean you can play for Wales then in that case, right? That's the thing, is it? Well, it's
Yeah,
unusual, isn't it, having a Cheshire postcode in Wales?
it's strange. Like there was one time I think where our junior setup ran out of the age groups. I think it was like under 17, and we asked if like we could play for Cheshire,
Yeah.
um, because we got a Cheshire postcode, but unfortunately that didn't work. We physically had to live or be born in Cheshire, so
To be considered.
yeah,
And brothers and sisters, I know I asked you some of these questions on Wednesday, but let's go back to it properly. Um,
yeah. Two brothers, one older, one younger, and I've got an older sister as well.
and age were you quite close together, Scott?
I'm a year older than my younger brother. I'm 4 years younger than my sister, and something like 7 years younger than my older
Oh,
brother.
really? And were they all into sport? You mentioned that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
My sister was at a young age, but she was very football at the same time. Me and my brother have always been badminton, and my older brother was badminton from like a junior age, and then he went into like kickboxing, and martial arts and things like that. Harden.
So is there a lot of sports facilities around, kind of thing? Was it quite easy access to sport, to badminton, and all of these things?
Not so much in badminton, so we didn't actually have that much for bad. We had a lot of leisure centres, but not many like badminton setups. But we've got so many like footballers coming out of Hardin. So Ryan Hedges, who plays for Aberdeen, currently.
Really?
We've had like Michael Owen. We've had loads. We've had loads.
Oh, yeah.
I think the school that we were at, Hardin High School, they were massive into their sport. Like the PE teachers were, they love sport,
Brilliant.
um, and they've just had so many people come through. Like we've had people in netball. They've not made it to the top, but they've been really good at netball, like Welsh champions, things like that.
Yeah. And the people that have played professionally, that the teachers, is it just hobbyists that are just really keen on developing it? Is that it? I mean, my experience of school teachers really is quite, get in, get it done, and get out kind of thing. They seem to have a lot more passion than that, right?
Yeah, they do go. To be fair to them, they do go the extra mile.
Yeah,
So like they'll happily stay behind after school,
really.
and with the football team. It might only be an hour, but
Yeah.
they honestly they stay there for 5 hours. they they were that keen about
And was
football,
badminton at
rugby.
school as well?
Only extracurricular. It was only 1 hour, but on the curriculum, it was maybe only for a term, if that.
Yeah,
It wasn't really that popular.
yeah, yeah. So how did you get into it?
Mum and dad, they used to love playing.
Right.
Played Cheshire League, French League, and they just drag us along to their club nights, and then the junior club, and then just really enjoyed it.
Yeah. All of your brothers and sisters went with.
Yeah, yeah, I think we all came through the same sort of junior club.
And you have tournaments and things like that as well.
Yeah, we've travelled, the length and the breadth of the country.
Did you?
Not just Wales, but like England, Scotland. We've been across to Ireland, across to Europe as well.
Really?
So yeah, so they've clocked up the miles in their cars.
Really fantastic. And who did they play for? What was the name of the team? I suppose the club. Is there
Beachside,
yeah?
and then Connors Key as well. We were quite involved in.
What's coaching like around where you are? Was it particularly good coaching? Was that how did they get so into it? Are they coaches themselves? How do they get into it as well? Do you know?
My mum helps out with like she helped out with junior county, junior clubs as well. We do have some really good coaches.
Really?
Well, at the time anyway, we had like Jason Wakefield, Andy Stewart, Luke Tanner. We have Dan Font as well now, but not many of them are still involved, sort of, in proper setups now, which is a shame. But back in the day, we did have a really good setup of coaches.
Yeah, I was quite interested in something that you said to me the other day, where you were talking about, if you moved to London, if you went to Milton Keynes, you wouldn't get to train with England lot, and you weren't good enough, kind of idea. I was thinking about the idea of, I'm quite interested in the idea that somebody can train, and the you limit your ability. I always just think that the more that somebody trains, the more they love it. If they love it and they train really, really, really hard, I don't think there's anybody that can be particularly good. If you look at, I don't, I, that's just my belief, is that anybody could be amazing. Like you saying, I don't think I would be good enough to train with them. But actually, when you went down there and you trained as much as they did, you would get as good as them, don't you? Don't you think that, or did you just think I'm not good enough for that? Or it's funny, yeah.
I think because Wales being such a small country in terms of badminton, we're level with the English players. Not level, but we're sort of not far away from the English players till we get to about 14, 15,
Really?
and then they just take off.
But that's just because they've trained a lot, right? A lot. They've got
Yeah,
facilities and they've got access to training every day, every morning before school, every night, every Saturday, every Sunday, and there's somebody doing that, isn't there? I think that's. When I'm from Northumberland, from my experience, there were people. I lived in a rural place. Probably about 60 miles from Newcastle, and I would go down on a Saturday and they'd go to the county coaching down there, and you'd see like the John Quinn and stuff like that playing, and they just felt like a world apart. And I know how you feel. I know what you mean. You think, I'll never be as good as that. I remember thinking I'll never be as good as those people. And the reality was, when I spoke to them, they were training before school. You know, it was like swimming club. Before school, go to badminton for an hour, and then after at 6 o'clock, have their day, go to badminton for 7 o'clock, and then coaching on a Sunday, and then tournaments and traveling for on a Saturday, and it's just the sheer availability of facilities, isn't it? But I just um,
yeah. We only ever train twice a week up in North Wales, which we can't really expect to be
yes, that's right.
leading
I agree.
competitors in the UK. But
I
then
agree.
I think one thing that we lacked was that attitude of, can we go and do more? And did we? Not really. No, we didn't.
It's easy. Cities kind of. There's always somebody. There's always somebody at the top of the tree driving. If I interviewed any of these national players, they would say there's somebody that drove them, and there's somebody that was there whenever they wanted to do that. It's just selflessly coaching all the time. Every morning, every day, because they're not doing it for money. These people, there's no money in there. Everybody knows that, but they've just such passion for it. Good. Let's go back to the questions. What age did you first play? Do you remember when you first held a racket? Do you remember?
It was about 11, I think. Yeah, around about 11.
And you started playing, you said, because your mum and dad took you, and you were bored watching, and someone says, "There's a big court there. Come on, let's have a shot." Was that it?
Pretty much. It was me v my brother, and then it was me v one of my friends, and we were just like, I'm not losing. I'm not losing.
With your brother.
We are very competitive in everything. Yeah, everything. Whether it's driving a car, it is literally who can drive the fastest, who can drive the safest. It is who can do it in the least petrol. It literally just comes down to like competition all the time.
Is that older brother or younger?
The younger brother.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's he like? Obviously, you said that you're singles mostly. What's he like when you play him? Do you still play him at singles now?
In training, like I do give him a good run around. I'm not going to say I lose. No, to be fair, he's better than me at singles, but I'm better than him at doubles. So it's kind of evened out now.
Isn't it interesting? Because he's, if I interviewed him, he would say that you drove him to be better.
Yeah, maybe.
He would though. He's always driving, always want to get better. I mean, Adam's the same. You always have motivators, and that's why one of the questions is who the biggest motivator was. There's always somebody just above you, just a couple of years older than you, but maybe you. So did you have anybody? He was always trying to beat you, right? Who were you trying to beat? Did you have anybody above you that you were trying to beat?
Yeah. So we were quite a competitive couple of years. So the year above me was Shung Fong Mo from South Wales. And in my own age group, there was Thomas Whiteman from South Wales, who was better than me as well.
Good.
So it was always me, trying to play catch up to beat them guys.
Was it always close, or was it we get thumped?
With Tom, we always had a good battle. I rarely came out on top, but we always had a good battle. But with Mo, yeah, with Mo was class above us at juniors. He was really good at juniors.
Does he still play now? Does he? Where does he play now?
Yeah, he's still in the national setup in Cardiff.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Where did you start playing? It was your parents. Your first racket?
Colt. I think it was a Colt. Was it Airblade? I was trying to think of it. I think it was an Airblade.
You still play with Carltons now?
No, I'm with you on it.
Be honest. Yes.
Yeah.
I was a Carlton man. It was the thing, I think, at the time. Carlton was the thing.
They were big. They were big. Yeah. My older brother still has the Carlton, the yellow Carlton rackets. I think you'll know which one I'm on about.
Yeah, I think when I was growing up, it was a long time ago. 3.7x, 3.7s, that kind of thing. They were old. There was like a graphite shaft and a metal frame. It was after the wood. I mean, I never saw wooden rackets, but yeah, it was always kind of the next thing. My brother still loves Carlton. I had Carlton up to about 3 years ago, and then I found out that felt that they were getting a bit. I don't know. I just didn't like them that much. And then somebody told me they'd been bought by Dunlop.
Yeah.
And that turned me right off. That just reminded me of Sports Direct. That was when I could realise I could buy one in Sports Direct, I stopped liking them.
Yeah, with every racket you get a free mug.
Massive mug, correct? Yeah. And the name of your first club? Did you say Was it Harden?
D-side.
D-side. How far did you travel? Was it in the town that you lived in, Harden? Is that where the sports centre was that you played badminton and coached and all that stuff? Well, did you have to travel for coaching?
Yeah. So when we were young, we used to be with Andy Stewart. He was our coach from a young age, and we used to go to Wrexham, which is about a 20-minute journey for us, to get coached by him. We also travelled across northwest to Neil Cottrell over in Deganwy.
Right.
And another one of our coaches it's like the Connors Quay area, which is 10 minutes away from us, was Luke Tanner. And yeah, we did our fair share of travelling, but we were quite lucky that we were quite central.
Yeah, and like these guys, would those coaches travel to other places, or did you go to them?
We went to them, yeah.
Yeah. So Andy Stewart where was he about?
He lives in Wrexham.
All right, okay, that's close for you then, right? Yeah, that's the handiest. And how was it getting coached by different coaches? And what did you learn from the different coaches? Do you think that was different? How would you say, were you getting coached by different coaches at the same time? If you effectively, like over years, if you look.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. So when it was 1-to-1, we'd be working with Andy, and then we go to like the Welsh development group, and that would be with Andy again. But then we also, we'd have 1-to-1s with Andy, and then a couple of years later we'd have a group session with Neil Cottrell or Dan Font or Luke Tanner or something like that.
Good.
Each coach has brought their own.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah, their own style onto me. Yeah, like Andy Stewart was perfect. Neil was very good tactically. Amongst others, Neil was a former Welsh and English player. Yeah. You learn quite a lot from different coaches. Some do have bigger impacts than others. When we left North Wales to go to South Wales, we started off with Matt Hughes and Eddie O'Neill.
Yes.
Again, I love both of them.
Yeah, really.
And then they both sort of left. And then we had Nick.
What did they bring that were different to each other? Would you think? Eddie O'Neill, I believe, was quite physical. Yeah.
I remember one session with Eddie. We went up to the Jubilee Hall in Sport Wales. Just me and my brother, and for about an hour and a half, it was corners. I was like, oh my god! I was like, I rarely did corners, and yeah, I could barely walk after that
What's
one.
that? So shadow badminton you're talking about?
Uh,
Shadow badminton you're talking about? What's corners? What's that?
it's just Eddie will stand in one corner, so it'll
Right.
be the front forehand, front backhand, rear forehand or rear
Yeah.
backhand, and we just have to play the shot back to him.
Right.
Wherever he hits it. Sometimes he'd start, or we'd start, and I'd do a really like a short serve, but it'd be about that high above the net, and he'd just kill it. And you go, come on, hit it. I'm like, oh god,
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's a good. And sorry, that was Eddie. What was different with it? Was everybody defined the same? Were they all teaching you pretty physical? Were they both all quite physical, or were there more tactical people, or what do you think you learned from each one of them? Could you say that? Could you say what you picked up from each one, each different coach?
yeah. With Matt Hughes, he taught me so much about doubles. I thought he was quite similar to Neil in terms of doubles. Them two probably they've had a massive impact on my doubles. Um, but everyone sort of has their own little
That's right.
their own little not I'm not gonna say catchphrase.
Yeah, yeah.
They've got their own little personal quality about them.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I think it's very interesting to find out because some coaches would say, "I don't want you seeing any other coaches when I'm coaching you. You learn from me, and that's it. You're just going to confuse it by going to somebody else." But I believe that you definitely should. And did you have different coaches over? How did you think it changed? How do you think that they changed? Like, how do they? Were you aware that you go to the same coach over years, and every week you go and they teach you something different? Did you know how they learned and how they changed, or were you aware that every time you went you did the same things, or every time you went they did something different, or did they tell you where they got their things from, their tacks from, if you like? Because if you got the same coach for 10 years, right? And that's happened. Andy Cook is a well-respected coach in Scotland, and he coached the same people for years, right? And now every single time they went, they learned something different. They did something different. And he said, obviously, since the internet's come on, things have changed a lot. But were you aware of that? Do you remember being aware of how things would be different at all?
No, we didn't really take much, we didn't really take much notice into that stuff. We sort of just,
Whatever this,
we
whatever
yeah,
they said to do, you did it. You didn't. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's interesting to me. Is how they learn. Because the world is full of knowledge and information. The internet's full of things. And how does somebody learn? Somebody's obviously they've looked at something, they've read something, they've watched something that's thought, I'm going to try that. And they come to you with all the confidence in the world that this is what you're going to do, when actually they've never seen it done before. But it's portrayal, I think there's a lot. Eddie O'Neill, if you watch that interview, he's like, I'd never really coached before, and I became a coach. And did you watch the interview with him?
yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he said he wrote to Yonex and said, I'm a coach, and they sent him a box of stuff, and he's like, wow. Yeah, great. That's and what do you feel about coaching yourself? Would you coach? What do you think of that? You're saying the new job you're talking about, does that involve coaching, that kind of thing?
No, this one won't. But over the past probably since I was 16, I've been doing one-to-ones. And since I've been in uni, I've taken on like group coaching roles. So with Newport Badminton Club, University of South Wales Badminton Club, Cardiff Met, and in Warwick as well. I sort of take a little bit from everyone, from like the coaches I've worked with, and some things that work well, some things didn't work well. So I knew what to try and involve, what to exclude. But again, I'm very raw as a coach at the same time.
Yeah, I've had some interesting interviews with Daniel McGee. I don't know if you've seen any of those. He's obviously well-respected coach, and he was talking about the kind of each player having certain attributes, and you to kind of think when you're a player, you think of a certain shot that you're particularly good at, and you'll say you go to somebody and you can't just go and say, "Oh, I'm really good at that shot. You should do that shot," kind of thing. And everybody's different. Every personality is different, isn't it? I think that's a big thing with badminton. It's quite big personalities. People are quite. I think there's quite big personalities in it. It's quite an exhibitionist thing. So that's quite hard to deal with. Yeah, so you enjoy the coaching, and do you enjoy one-on-one more than group? Do you think?
Um, I'd probably say I'm more of an impactful coach in a group, but I do prefer doing one to one just because it is, you know, it's unrestricted contact time. It's 100% with one person, and then like I don't know what the word is, but
Focus.
it's just yeah, it's whereas in a group you've sort of got you've got to look after a bit of everyone and you've got to tailor
Yeah.
it to
It's a
everyone.
bit
Whereas just
diluted. A
in
bit
one,
diluted. Do you think?
yeah, and one to one, I think one to one's just it's easier and it's a lot less stress as well.
Andy Cook had a quite interesting. Andy Cook, if you watch that, he coached two people at once, and it
Mm.
wasn't one-on-one. It was two, right? Two singles players that competed against each other. Jim Mailer and Bruce Flocker. Massive competition, massive rivalry, and for years he coached them both at the same time. Every single week they had a session, and they had a conversation with one. I think Jim Mailer was getting in coached all the time, and then Bruce Flockett says, "I would like to come and get coached. Could you coach me?" And he said, "Okay, I don't mind, but I'll need to go and speak to Jim." And he went and spoke to Jim. "Would you mind if he comes?" And the two of them. So it's not impossible, to get two exceptional players and get them to bounce off one another. I think that would be awesome. As a matter of fact, I think it would be really good. Okay, so next question, about the questions. Question 9. The shuttles. Your first shuttles you used, plastic or feathers?
I think we actually went straight into feathers. Sorry, we were the club that we played at used the LX, um,
Okay.
the yellow tube. I can't remember
Yeah,
what they're
yeah,
called,
no, there
but
was.
I'm pretty sure we went straight into feathers.
Yeah, that's good, and it probably helped by your mum. I guess your mum and dad coming back, and they've always had boxes of feathers. Did it? Were they involved in shuttles, and did they come back with shuttles for you, kind of thing?
In our garage, I think we've still got. Do you remember? Is it Tawny or
Tony,
RSL
RSL
or something
Tonys,
like?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think we must still have at least 15, 20
I
tubes
mean,
in the
I think they
garage of
had a
them.
green thing around the feather, around the cork. It was
Yeah,
green, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah. I think we must still have loads of them around.
And do your parents still play?
No, no, my dad hasn't played for a while, but my mum likes to dip in and out. So if the local team is short, she'll have a game, no problem. But I think now that we left home, she's got a lot more time
Yeah,
to
yeah.
play if she wants to play now.
Yeah, it's nice. So no, I totally agree with that. Me with a 19-year-old, I'm on board with that. You start to do what you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think your mum was your first coach?
No, she kind
Did
of
she ever
never
coach you?
wanted to
Yeah.
be
Did
involved with
did
us.
she ever? Did she never coach you? No.
I think she would have turned grey very, very quickly if she'd have coached us. I remember my first ever coach was a man called Don Benyon. Um, I've not seen him probably since I was about 12, but he was our first ever
What's his
coach.
name? Dan Benyon.
Don,
Don Ben.
I think, yeah, it must be short for Donald. Benyon, so Benion.
Don Benyon. I'll find that name. Don Benyon. That's good. And is he right? He where you are, Harden.
Yeah, he was local to that area.
Nice one. So he was your first coach. Good work. Your first ever tournament and trophy.
Ooh, my first ever tournament would have been a junior nationals, I think. But my first trophy, we had something called like the Junior Shuttle Series in Wales as a junior. Um, that would have been my first. So it was like Shuttle Series were for sort of the better juniors, and the Satellite Series were for the more beginner juniors. I think my first one was a Shuttle Series
That
win.
was nice. I was going to ask you a question about coaching, and so you started playing when you were 11. When did you first get coached? Do you remember? How far in? Had you been playing for a year, 2 years? Was it straight away? What
I think it was straight
was
away.
that?
Yeah, I think so. From what I remember.
Yeah, good. Yeah, successful tournament. Were you always a singles player?
For juniors, yeah, I was predominantly singles, and I didn't really turn to doubles until I left for uni.
And do you still play singles much?
Mm, I try not to.
Do
I do
you?
get roped in now and again, but I try not to.
Why?
Um, I think I don't want to. One, I don't want to lose to people that I shouldn't lose to. Like on paper, I shouldn't lose to, but I think I like to save myself for doubles and mixed. So it's just unnecessary energy wasted in
It
singles.
feels like that, does it? Yeah. Who was your main competition growing up?
It would have been Tom Whiteman, definitely.
You still speak to him?
Not as much anymore, but I play mixed with his sister
Oh,
now,
good.
so still in contact with the family.
Yeah, good. Well, there's a thing. He might see this. I know you've said that. Okay, so currently, so we're on the current time. That's good. Um, where do you play now?
I'm currently based in Coventry, so I'm part of the University of Warwick Badminton Club.
Is that a good?
That's the only
Is that a
place.
good club? What's that like?
Yeah, we're in the Bucks leagues. We've got some really good players. It's quite a new sort of performance setup. And like, to be fair, they're doing really well there. We've got a guy called Kelvin Ho, who is top 200 in the world, I think, at the moment.
Unbelievable.
Um, and we've got some really good players there.
Yeah. And how often do you play?
4 times a week,
Yeah, that's good,
um,
isn't it?
as sort of a standard, and then whatever else. Like if I want to book a court in the
Yeah,
afternoon, we'll go down and hit as and when we can, really.
it's good. It's so good, isn't it? So have you got a dedicated partner that you play with all the time, that you train with all the time, or does it mix it up? What happens there?
No, so my partner is Nick Strange, and he's. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he's getting old. He's getting on a bit now. Um,
26.
I'd 10. So he's like early 30s now. He retired and then he came back to support us players.
Good.
But no, I haven't got a regular partner at the moment. So it's just trying to find. I think it's just trying to find.
So you would say that probably Nick sounds like a good partner for you. So what do you think it is about Nick's game that you like? Do you think it's because he's older and he kind of eludes kind of a bit of confidence and he's quite obviously probably more experienced? Do you think?
Yeah, so he's been at the top. So he's been the top 50 in the world. He's been Commonwealth Games, and I remember we had a conversation in uni because he was originally in Cardiff Met, and I just said like, will you play nationals with me? And he said, yeah, if we train, yeah, like fine. We went and won it, and it's that I think it's because he was pure doubles. Like there was no up and down. It was literally fast, flat, everything. And I was like, I want to play like that, and just that's just what I wanted, just to learn off him as well. That was the main thing.
You want at the back? Are you stronger at the back or the front? I always think that people are best at that. Also, what do you think about rotation? Do you learn a lot of rotation? Do you work on that
Yeah,
quite a lot?
yeah. We do quite a lot of rotation. We do a lot of like 2v1 or
Yeah,
2v2, depending on who's down.
yeah.
I'd probably say I'm stronger at the back just because I've sort of naturally always like had a bigger
It's
smatch than
it's a
most of my
singles thing, isn't it?
partners. Will. Yeah, but I'm slowly getting better at the front. So
What
hopefully,
amazes me when
give
I
it.
was watching somebody in the mixed in on YouTube on mixed, and it was just a clip of about 15. It was like one rally, and the lady at the front. There's just this. It's changed. I just think it's changed. She was dropping back to below the tee, not like standing at the tee, below the tee, and then when she saw the sniff of something going to be coming short, it's just this motion of I don't know. It feels like that the person at the front is coming back a bit more than they used to, like another meter back kind of thing, and then really charging in, and then coming back to that center section. All that I just from what I remember, that it was always the tee, but it seems to have come back a bit. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, when we were young, we used to get taught mixers, the women stays in one corner and the man covers the other three corners.
Really?
And
Really?
that's probably the worst advice I've ever seen, because every time I've played mixed, the women have just been as strong as the men. They can hold their own. Like, they've just got better and better and better, and some of them are stronger than the men now. So
Really?
yeah.
Really, yeah. It's yeah, I find it absolutely amazing. So good. Sorry, next question. Just got interrupted by a message there. What's your current racket?
I currently use the Astrox 88S. The new
Oh
colorway.
dear. Really? Have you just got that? That's blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's blue, isn't it?
Yeah, I was with the 88D.
Yeah.
And then I just used the 88S, like, because I think all my rackets are broken, and I was like, I prefer this one. I much prefer this one to the D. And I was just like, I'm just going to start using this one now.
Shorter because it was shorter.
I think the balance point and the weight balance point was slightly different, and I kind of wanted more control as opposed to more power.
Really?
And I just felt a lot more controlled with the S than I did with the D.
Really? Because it was shorter.
I think so. Yeah, matches me.
It's funny because it's meant to be a bit best for net play. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice though.
But I think you've got people have got enough power to use whatever racket they want. I think it's just finding that perfect, not perfect racket. There will never be a perfect one, but that one that suits you best.
Yeah.
I never really looked into it when I was playing. It's only recently I've started to look into it a bit more, and I've gone through every single string trying to find one that I really like.
Yeah.
And I've always, like, the last probably a year I've been BG80, and now I've just gone X-Bolt. I used it once and I was like, oh my, I love this string.
What about it? The difference, the grip feels different, is it? A touch?
Yeah, it's just the sound that you get, it just feels so much softer, even though it's the same tension. It's just I don't know. I'm really bad at the string specs, but I love the X-Bolt. I really love the X-Bolt at the moment.
I haven't even heard of it. I'll be lying. X-Bolt. Well, tension?
Depending on what's coming up. If it's just training, it'll be about 28. If it's competitions, I'll use like 29, 30.
How often do you break a string?
Every week.
Every week. How many rackets do you have?
I've got 3 88S at the moment.
That's a big investment. That's quite expensive.
I'm very, very fortunate that I'm sponsored by Oates.
I see. That's nice.
So I do get mine for free.
That's awesome.
But some other people, brackets are a big investment for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, 3. Yeah, I mean, I am definitely have fun just as a club player having 2 of the same rackets. You see some people with a bag of all sorts, like 6 and 7 different. Oh, that's an old one, and they keep when I get a new one, I get rid of one. That's what I do, and I'll just always have 2. And quite often you get deals when you buy 2, you get 1. When you buy 2, you get a deal if you buy 2 of them. It certainly was always the thing with Carlton. I don't think it's the same with Yonex, to be fair. You didn't have family or anything like that. You're not married or anything like that. You don't have any. Is it quite easy to go and play whenever you want? Do you? You please yourself, I suppose, right? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got years for that. And you've already said your favourite event's doubles, yeah?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good. Just 2 more questions. The second last is: do you feel as competitive now as you always have? Do you think you're more, or how do you feel about losing? I think that's a question I like. How do you feel about losing? Do you lose the plot? Are you quite calm about it? What do you think of that?
I do get angry when I lose, especially tight games. There was one time in the Nationals 2-3 years ago where I got red carded because the opponent completely got in my head, and I just completely lost it after. But I think since then, I've been quite calm about it, and I've tried taking the loss. I've taken the losses better.
You come across like a hothead. You come across quite calm and reserved and that kind of thing. I'm very, very passionate and quite angry, I suppose, when I'm badminton. I get really, I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, and it makes me laugh and smile and everything else. But yeah, I can get quite het up. I can get quite wound up. But then equally, I don't mind losing. How do you mind losing? Would you mind playing against somebody? Would you go in a tournament that you thought I'm never going to win? There's a question.
Yeah, I'll always challenge myself.
Me too. Hard as you can get. Okay, last question. What is it about badminton, do you think? When your brothers and sisters have done various other things, what do you think? It's hard to say, but what do you think? What is it you love about badminton specifically? That's the last question.
I think it's the social side as well. Like, I love going to competitions and seeing, I haven't seen people for a good couple of years, and you just catch them at a competition. And I think it's the overnight stays where we count like county weekends. We'll go for an overnight stay in London or something, and we'll be on the ale for Saturday night, and we'll have a good laugh, and then we'll sort of work hard, play hard, sort of thing.
They've met people they've stayed in touch with for life, right? They've been friends for life. They've played for 10, 20, 30, 40 years have played, and they still know each other. And that was part of the idea of this, really, is to bring the communities together. So yeah, fantastic. So you can share it away, and hopefully your friends will watch it and they'll see it all. And please, if you know anybody else that wants an interview, tell them to come on, because I'm all over that. All right.
Yeah, I will.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That's brilliant, Scott. I really enjoyed it. Okay.
No problem.
That's great.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and thanks for your time. Take care. Thank you. Take care, buddy. Cheers. Bye.